Back with another batch of 5 insane episodes. An amazing collection of episodes that leads to an exciting new chapter of this season of Kamen Rider. Episode 21 starts with great agency. Baku immediately informs Temu and the kids about the multiple nightmares. The said nightmares immediately wreaking havoc on the town. The dream town, not the real world town. Baku immediately waking up from this, learning from Nazca that multiple kids have drawn the same image of a Dark Lord, eventually learning a common thread among the kids that they all played an online game called Block Create, which is a lot like Hytale since Minecraft doesn't have enough RPG mechanics, and Roblox are for Epstein fans. I'm picking Hytale. Meanwhile, Nox continues his fight with 5, creatingly avoiding his attacks with the use of the Shadow Capsem, trying to escape to a new dream but is still followed by 5. Nox eventually finding out that a tracker was attached to him. Minami worries about Baku sleeping too early. Finding Sayuri Ando's card, I audibly screamed in panic knowing that Minami is probably not resistant to mind control. Back in the dream, Nemo and the kids encounter 5 and Korea. I refuse to call her 6. The kids correctly identifying 5 as a monster. 5 and Korea ask Baku to join them fight Nox, but Baku has the right idea on this, focusing on protecting the children being exploited by the nightmares. Reaching the Dark Lord's castle, Baku fights his hardest to protect the kids, until the unthinkable happened. The nightmares combining into the Dark Lord, making the children's nightmare come true. An event that could have been prevented if the other 2 code agents weren't busy chasing the distraction. The Dark Lord nightmare crossing over to the real world, absorbing the children's physical forms. 3 announcing the mission a failure, which, I want to reiterate, could have been prevented if you made your agents focus on the correct target. I'm adding that to the list of reasons why I dislike this jackass. The nightmare enters the real world. 3 now ordering to avoid a nightmare scenario he indirectly started. 5 and Korea whisk Baku off somewhere, and they mentioned that Baku is able to transform as Zeztz like it's a very special thing. Like the nightmare that gave him power is somehow unique. Speaking of, we awaken to a vision of a ruined city, where Baku encounters his child self, Nemu, and the Zeztz nightmare, who holds up Nemu. It's revealed that this is just a dream, Baku's dream specifically, cutting to the lady who confirms that she's found Code's base, and is beginning to plan an attack. Meanwhile, the Dark Lord Nightmare attacks the city in a very Dark Lord fashion, summoning Bone Rexes to attack people. 5 and Korea fight the Nightmare, who's accompanied by Nox. Korea able to transform and fend off the Nightmare's attacks, but is sadly brutally beaten as the Nightmare leaves. Seeing Korea heavily injured, Nox pulls out a pocket pistol and guns Korea down. 3 informs Baku of this, and Nazca, to put it lightly, doesn't take it well. Baku, screaming in distress, arrives as 5 tries to fight Nox, but is also overpowered and shot. 5 and Korea have died. When I first saw this, I was very taken aback. I literally walked away and did the Pablo Escobar meme. I was that shocked, especially with Korea, who's had a very likable introduction, and 5 has a very interesting character. To see them just get in my mind at the time that week, my head was like, oh wow, they just wasted these really good characters. But that was like a preface to what's going to happen. Anyway, Nox continues to attack, with Baku being thrown down a building to fall to his death, only to dream, then take the Zeztz Nightmare's powers into a capsem to make it his own, avoiding death and transforming in real life into Zeztz Catastrophe. This form is just Bane. Nox's attacks doesn't do shit with this, and Baku just says, I'll break you, like Bane in the Batman animated series. I'm freaking serious. This thing is just Bane. The squash match between Zeztz Catastrophe and Nox continues, with Nox continuously being thrown around like a ragdoll. Nox finally defeated with Catastrophe's finisher, and this kills Nox. everybody is dead. I think the writer got pissed off at some criticism Kamen Rider got at some point. With this and the horrific high school deaths in the last episodes, how is this still a kid's show? Alright, you let the parents guide them. That's what the PG in PG stands for. Anyway, it looks like everything I'm afraid of is happening. With everyone dying and now Minami being mind controlled by the lady. This is a horrific development to a situation that's already bad. Back in the command center, Fujimi and Nazca confront 3, proving that they are very much a highlight of this show. From this argument, 3 reveals that Code is an agency that defends people from supernatural threats, alive or dead. This pisses both of them off, especially Nazca, who just learned that her best friend died. A person she's been trying to connect with after she lost her. And this mophead prick couldn't even care less. Within Baku's dream, Nemo reveals that she's mastered some lucid dreaming abilities. And like a nightmare, Baku awakens both him and Nemo by destroying the dream. After awakening, Baku confronts the Dark Lord Nightmare, defeating the once unstoppable monster with relative ease. His victory not celebrated by Zetz's normal theme song Good Morning, instead showing the destruction he himself has caused. With Nemo then awakening to see the lady and recognize her as her mother. Episode 24, strangely enough, just starts directly with the opening theme song. Directly back to Nemo and the lady who reveals to her that she was Agent 2 and that Nemo is a child from nightmares, that she's not slept since the day Code agents tried to take her. Meanwhile, Baku is revealed to have become a ginormous prick after failing to save both Kureha and Nox, excusing his mistakes with they prepared for their own deaths and Nox was a threat to peace. Minami is scolding and begging him not to bloody his hands further. The episode continues as a sequence of fight scenes that leads us to the climax, with some highlights where Baku as Zeztz Catastrum absolutely bodies nightmares like the Wolf Nightmare and the Poison Nightmares, 2 nightmares that gave him trouble before. Nemo stopping Baku from baning the lady as the Catastrum form breaks down and the lady gets shot by 3 smokes. A fight between Baku and 3 commences, but it's a wash. Baku is defeated and 3 points a gun to his head as a foreboding version of Dream Maze plays. And as the music swells, a trigger is pulled. The music stops and Baku wakes up in the hospital. The preview showing events that's set on the first 2 episodes of the show. We are now on a new chapter where the light of the morning never comes and we've all been lost into a haze of nightmares. Baku has awakened to events long before the tragedy from episode 24, no longer having any trust in his superior, barring him away from the command center, meeting Nemo and immediately saying how the nightmares are coming at her mother's behest. This leads to him intercepting the bomb nightmare, pulling him out of a police car with chains on its neck. Baku is intensely aggressive, making quick work of the poor bastard. It almost feels arbitrary, like let's just throw in a fight scene because we need it. Also, I don't know why, but this shot is hilarious to me. Though it does lead to a sweet scene in where Nox and Nemo kind of sympathize with each other's situations of being stuck in unconsciousness. There's also this scene between 0 and 3 talking about Project Somnium, which in Latin means vision or dream. We'll talk about my crackpot theories about that later. After proving that they're the best characters in the series, Baku then visits Fujimi and Nazca, Baku asking them for help. He initially fails, but they're both intrigued by the spoilers he gives them. They're both like, "Why did you say that name?" Also, Nazca still has Kureha's old numbers saved, who gets brain zapped by 5 back into service. Alone in a dream, Baku looks back on the events that led to the nightmare that was the end of episode 24, contemplating on what to do next. until Nemo arrives telling him that he gave her hope, asking him if it's okay for her to wake up. Something causes rubble to fall, but we're not shown what that was at the moment. Baku then communicates with everyone in the waking world, revealing the past 24 episodes a premonition. A premonition they must work together to prevent. So, theory time, I guess. I thought it would have been fun if the last 24 episodes was a code simulation they put Baku in, but I can get behind it being a premonition. There have been some stories in real life where people see the future through their dreams and stuff. The preview shows a new rider, Kamen Rider Dawn, whose driver is an X-shaped harness that covers his chest. Yeah, that's going to get broken in a fight. We even see Nox along with 5 Kureha and Baku fighting the guy. This is most probably the post-episode reveal that they're just spoiling up front. I'm betting from how weird 3 acts that he's Dawn, or like the internet has already theorizing Dawn is probably Agent 1. But I think they'll be saving Agent 1 in their summer movie, like how they had G4, Sorcerer, Orga appear as like movie riders. I'm hedging my bet that 3 becomes some sort of villain in the future, since it will explain his baffling executive decisions. If Zero also turns out to be a villain, which I'm hoping he becomes Baku's mentor again, if they ever do, I believe they'll turn him into a different type of villain. If Baku was never in a simulation and the first arc just shows a full premonition from the Zeztz nightmare, I think Project Somnium could be like plunging the world into some perfect dream. Like I said earlier, Somnium in Latin means dream or vision. It being a perfect dream could be the case, or it could also be plunging everyone into darkness, into zero per se, and then letting them live out their lives free from nightmares. But that may not make sense given that Code is a supernatural defense agency. Somnium could also be a plan to remove people's ability to dream or have nightmares outright, which they may spin into like bad because it's conquering nightmares and living fantasies and stuff. I mean that in a story sense. Checking with dreams and nightmares and how they function in the brain looks absolutely complicated. It's a real rabbit hole. There's also some great usage of music, like the omission of Good Morning, indicating they're currently living a nightmare, and the song Dream Maze getting a more ominous version of itself. I've seen people describe that theme as upbeat, but it's really more threatening, capturing the moment Baku is facing against 3, becoming silenced as Baku loses consciousness. I'm very excited for what's to come. This has been like one of the best seasons of Kamen Rider in the Reiwa era so far. I hope to see you on the next one. Like and subscribe. See ya!